Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight, when I can definitively sit here and tell you guys that the most entertaining moment of tonight's Friday Night Smackdown was watching a grown-ass man fall flat on his ass as Dash Wilder botched his own entrance tonight, going out to his match. Then you know we are in for a long and dreadful and continually sucky episode of our least favorite WWE show, Suck Down Live, and we are going to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Friday Night Smackdown review and reaction show. Time to bring the hammer down. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
First and foremost, once again, you're going to notice a little bit of a change in the screen. The layout is completely different, but it is much more a reflection of what we actually watched tonight. I didn't watch no SmackDown. What I watched was a Suckdown. I got another one-way ticket to Sucktown, courtesy of the WWE, and it was not enjoyable, to say the least. And one of the reasons why we simplified things and we changed things up so much is because the WWE wanted to hit me with a copyright strike for absolutely no reason. I can guarantee you guys there is no WWE content owned by them on this channel right now. And I took away all of the little iconographies and anything that they can sit there and say, oh, well, that's our design for our layout, or that's our logo, or this, and whatever fucking reason you want to come at me. Or maybe it was just the bots getting something wrong. In any case, you're not going to shut me up. You're not going to take me down. And if I have to change things up to make sure that you leave me the hell alone and that my voice can be heard and my sledgeheads can be satisfied and my sledgeheads will be educated as to all of the shit you guys want to throw at us, you think you could silence the voice of the masses? You cannot do such a thing. I have been so pissed off about it that I almost didn't even want to do any more WWE reviews, but that would be ludicrous. We are a WWE review channel, and we cannot let the big bad wrestling company intimidate us in any way. It's bad enough that I allow them into my life twice a week and have them absolutely ruin my night the way that they did with tonight's episode of Friday Night Smackdown. The minute you hear King Corbin's music hit at the start of the show, you know the rest of the show is already tanked. I don't care what the hell you had planned. I don't give a shit about anything that has to do with this storyline. And as soon as they start talking, you got Corbin and Ziggler in the ring. It goes right down that Vince McMahon 5-year-old baby humor territory. Oh, the smell was so bad. Oh, the dog food smell was so bad. I really have to sit here and watch two grown-ass men act like a couple of infantile idiots talking about Roman Reigns being covered in dog food, a segment that should have never even existed last week. Absolutely ridiculousness going on. Bobby Roode is away injured, Michael Cole wants to say, but no, he's not injured. He was suspended for a wellness violation. I do not know the details of it, and I do not care to know. All I know is he probably needed to go away. Maybe he did a little bit of the and got a little caught by the bigwigs at the company, because I would be smoking my brains out too if I was stuck side by side with Dolph Ziggler and King Corbin every single week on SmackDown, which makes absolutely no sense, does nothing for anybody, and just brings down the entire quality of the show. Especially when you want to put him opposite Roman Reigns. And the veil is lifted, all right? Whatever the smoke screen that he had in front of him for the last couple of months that has been somewhat protecting him from some of us here and from criticizing him, it's gone. All right? The guy's as healthy as a horse. God bless him for getting through everything he had to get through. The fact is that WWE still is jamming him straight down our throats. What sense of any of it, does it make to have him have what happened to him last week? Roman Reigns handcuffed, taken advantage of, by Ziggler and by Corbin and strung up and smashed in the face with the dog food. But now this week, he's coming out at the end of the show. He's barreling through 9 Jabba security guards. He's handling the revival. He's handling everybody single-handedly. He is superhuman tonight, but last week he couldn't be superhuman. And in the one situation where they could have actually fixed it, they decided not to do so. They decided to make the big dog be the big dog unchained all night long. Corey Graves and Michael, the big dog is unchained somewhere. Does anybody give a shit? I certainly didn't. I know you guys didn't. This show is dreadful. It's absolutely horrendous from start to finish. There was not one thing on this show other than Dash Wilder busting his ass that got my attention. You want to start this show with Kofi Kingston coming out to call bullshit on King Corbin and Dolph Ziggler, saying that they are now seen as the locker room leader. Baron Corbin wants to be the locker room leader. That's what he wants to be. That's what this is all about. This isn't about a championship. This is about respect from your peers in the back, which is not going to be gained for Baron Corbin no matter what the hell he does. Okay, this whole thing has run its course already. They have sullied the good name of the King of the Ring with the way they have gone forward with this. It's just juvenile and stupid, and I don't care for any of it. And then you have Kofi Kingston come out to confront him. Why? What sense does this make? Oh, well, Kofi Kingston and Big E are defending the championships in a TLC match this Sunday at TLC. Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin, they're having a TLC match at TLC. So naturally, let's put those two storylines together because that's the best way to get this story moving forward on the go-home show to gain the most interest. We're going to take two stories that have absolutely nothing to do with one another and combine them into one segment that's going to last the entirety of the show. And it makes no sense. Who the hell cares? What the hell reason does Kofi Kingston want to be getting in the ring with King Corbin when he's got a championship title defense in 2 days? And it only gets even worse from there. The whole thing was ridiculous. The fans wanted to chant, "You look stupid," at Baron Corbin. Great. He knows that already. He don't care. He wants to relish in the fact that he's the most hated. Listen, let's call a spade a spade. We don't hate Baron Corbin because he's Baron Corbin. We hate Baron Corbin because of what Vince McMahon forces him to go out there and tries to pull off. This weird pairing with Dolph and Bobby Roode, which has now become just him and Dolph. Dolph standing out there looking like a jackass with his little Smackdown hat on. Why he's so loyal and gives a shit about Baron Corbin? Is he really have that much little self-worth that he considers himself worthy of being just a lackey to Baron Corbin? Everything happening about this segment just makes my skin crawl. Nothing redeeming about it whatsoever. And the fact that you did nothing at all to make me interested or excited about TLC this Sunday means that you failed at your main job for this show, was to generate excitement for what's to come on Sunday, and all you did was make my excitement dwindle even more. I already know that we're in store for some bullshit on Sunday, but after watching Suckdown tonight, it's only gotten infinitely worse. Infinitely worse. And is this too hard for you, WWE? You watch me? Is this too much for you? Are you going to copyright infringe my voice, you motherfuckers? Because you can't. You can't accept the truth. Your TV show is garbage. It's complete trash. And if you're going to come at me, I am going to come at you even harder. And you're going to defend yourself with trash like this? You want to call yourself the best wrestling promotion on the planet. You want to consider yourself the AAA of all of them. You want to be the major leagues of pro wrestling, and you are putting out junior high school level television productions. You got an entire cast of writers, 30 fucking heads in a room that can't rub together 2 nickels to make a dime. Fucking awful. Absolutely awful. And it's unforgivable. You have such talent at your fingertips, and you don't know what to do with them. You're just throwing together random bullshit. We'll just make Corbin fight Kofi. It makes no sense. They have nothing to do with one another going forward, but let's just fucking do it anyway. Obviously, they couldn't come up with anything better. Why don't you go to CM Punk? CM Punk's got some really great ideas. CM Punk actually came up with an idea that would save the Lashley and Lana Rusev love triangle. That was friggin' awesome, and I thought it was fantastic. Give him the goddamn pencil. Because this shit ain't cutting it anymore. It makes me just not really even want to watch, and that's the worst thing you can do to a wrestling fan. And I know a lot of you people are going to be, oh, well, why don't you just stop watching it since you're getting so mad about it? Because you can't stop watching something you love. And when you're seeing the thing that you love in the hands of a bunch of idiots and watching it deteriorate from a week-to-week basis, it's just something that as a fan you have to endure and hope that you get through and see the light at the end of the tunnel. The same way that it is to be a New York Giants fan. Every Sunday I tune in and they destroy my hopes and dreams of ever getting back to the playoffs, of ever getting any glory again. But I tune in, I follow my team, and you hope for the best. Always looking for improvements and hope for the future. But you don't get that. It only looks darker. It only looks more dreary as we get down the road to TLC, which is a useless pay-per-view. What match on that card, any of the matches they highlighted tonight, really has the heat behind it to be blown off in a TLC? Nothing. When the Hardys and Edge and Christian were doing their thing, the Dudleys, all of that was based off of long-time rivalries coming to a head in the tag team division. Three of the best battling for the gold. Now what do we get? Randomness. Constant rematches. Oh, Kofi and the New Day and the Revival have been at each other's throats for some time now. Yeah, but what meaning is there to it? How many times have we seen the Revival lose? How many times have they flip-flopped championships back and forth? There's no real meaning behind it. There's no real reason for us to get behind it. It's just there for the sake of putting on the pay-per-view. Well, we'll give them a tag team match. Originally, it wasn't even deemed worthy of being a TLC match. It was originally booked as just a tag team championship matchup. This week, we find out it is, in fact, going to be a TLC title match. But who cares? Who cares? You don't. I don't. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are in the ring. They're awaiting their opponents, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. WWE loves to turn people without actually turning people, don't you guys? What the fuck happened to Alexa Bliss to suddenly make her be so happy and so accepting of Nikki Cross and, oh, Mandy Rose is a bully? If Mandy Rose is a bully, then what the hell do you call yourself? I don't understand it. Who wrote this for Alexa Bliss to say, oh, well, she's just a big old bully? Oh, the bully's getting bullied by another bully? And we're supposed to give a shit? We have no reason to gravitate to Alexa Bliss right now. She didn't do anything of significance to make us go, wow, Alexa Bliss is a good girl now. She's turned the page. We should get on board. No, we haven't seen any of that. All of a sudden, she's just good. She's fighting against heels. She's being paired back up with Nikki Cross, who is another person who actually should be heel, but we're going down this babyface path with. And it's all for what? All to give Alexa Bliss TV time? Is she being positioned for another tag team championship run with Nikki Cross? I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that at all. I don't know what the purpose of any of this was, but they did do something interesting. And while Alexa Bliss was running her mouth in the gorilla position, instead of Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville standing in the ring like a couple of monkeys waiting for them to show up, they went and brought the fight to them, brought the fight to the gorilla position, started beating the girls up before the match would get started. Finally, the match would get going in the ring, and then we had Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeating Fire and Desire. Fire and Desire are not being taken seriously. They are not being booked efficiently, and if you are a writer in the WWE, and you are given the task of heading the women's tag team division. Fire and Desire are one of the teams that you may want to look at to be one of the teams that you might actually be able to build around that can do something special, that have some sort of a name recognition right now. Sonya Deville is kind of getting over more since she's been on Total Divas. Mandy Rose has always been simmering around, and they both gotten very, very good in the ring. So I think that would be one of the teams you would want to focus on. You'd want to focus on the Kabuki Warriors. You'd want to focus on Fire and Desire. They're an actual team with an actual name. An actual team for a long time. They're real-life best friends. Do it. Go with it full force. But no, instead we get Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross beating these girls for no reason at all. Terrible. Sami Zayn is in the back and he wants to run into, well, I don't know if he wanted to, but he ends up running into Otis and Tucker of Heavy Machinery, and this thing turns into a whole Christmas-themed segment where they are going to give Sami Zayn a gift, and it is the gift of ham. They gave him a nice fresh ham. Sami Zayn wanted nothing to do with the Milwaukee ham. He hated the gift. He told them, you know, you guys, I am a vegan. Like, I don't eat this shit to begin with. Otis apologized, but Sami Zayn would not accept the apology, and this ended up being somehow the reason to book a match between Heavy Machinery and Shinsuke and Cesaro. So now we have that tag team match to look forward to, I guess. Didn't make much sense from right off from the booking. Why are you going to give Heavy Machinery a loss in their hometown to the makeshift team of Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro? Heavy Machinery is the actual tag team that have actual momentum, actual fan support, even though they come out wearing a couple of goofy looking cheese hats and they do a whole lot of gyrating and wiggling of their fat and stuff. And it's fine, it's entertaining to a point, and to most people it probably is much more entertaining than it is to a guy like me. But they can actually go in the ring, and the fact that the WWE has given them the Viking Raider, Warrior Raider Raiders treatment up until this point is terrible. And it just means that that's the direction they're going to go. Even if they end up ever getting their hands on the WWE Smackdown Tag Team Championships, they are going to be booked as the comedy segment, the joke of the night. And it's very much unnecessary. The Revival defeated Chad Gable and Mustafa Ali. Okay. Because they're warming up for their TLC match, I guess at least they're getting a win over a viable tag team. But why wouldn't you want to gain some momentum for Chad Gable and Mustafa Ali? Maybe let them go up against Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro and allow them to win. Piss off Sami Zayn a little bit. Do something interesting. No, but now we get the Revival getting a token win to make them look like they mean something going into the pay-per-view this Sunday against the New Day for the Tag Team Championships. This was a decent tag team matchup, probably the best of all the matches on the night just due to in-ring quality. Chad Gable and Ali, I like them as a team. I still think they should be called the Ali G Show. There might be a trademark thing going to get in the way of that if HBO has something to say about it, but all kidding aside, I like them as a unit. They are two guys that will get lost in the singles division very, very easily. You can gain some momentum here with them as well by putting them as a solid tag team. Give them a name, give them a theme song, and give them a run. And you put them up against teams like Heavy Machinery and everybody else, and you build them up until the point where they're able to face the New Day or the Revival or whoever it is are the champions at the time when they are finally ready to do it. Why not, man? Why not? Care about your tag team division. Make things feel important. Make teams feel important. Make superstars feel special and wanted and loved by caring about what they're doing and doing it carefully and having an end goal to get to where everybody involved comes out looking the best they possibly ever could have. That is the secret to booking pro wrestling. But we don't apply it here. Dash Wilder tripping and falling on the entrance was the best part of the entire show. But this was a very good match. It was a very solid outing for all four men. But the Revival, like I stated earlier, gets their token win. In the back, Kayla Braxton is interviewing Bayley. Bayley's going on and on and on. Sasha Banks is doing a rap album. I'm the woman's champion over here. We're doing great. We're taking over. And then Elias starts singing from out of nowhere. And Elias is still being followed around by his sausage-looking groupie, Dana Brooke, who is infatuated with David Batista right now to the point where she actually executed a Batista bomb very, very sloppily during her matchup tonight with Bayley, which was only made subsequently to Elias singing a very silly song to Bayley, insulting her in the process, telling her that she looks like a dude since she cut her hair. You're telling me that's not juvenile Vince McMahon classic humor? He probably wrote that line himself, and he was probably damn proud of it. Ha 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 ha! Tell that Bayley she looks like a boy. That's some good shit. It's fucking stupid. Absolutely ridiculous. This is how they come up with a reason for Dana Brooke to fight and lose to Bayley. You think Bayley's going to lose to Dana Brooke on the SmackDown before she's having her matchup at TLC? Absolutely not. Why Sasha Banks is off doing a rap album right now in the midst of her comeback and not on Monday Night Raw, on Friday Night Smackdown, if that is actually what she is truly doing. I don't know. I mean, more power to her to do her own thing on her own time. But, I mean, tonight was a night you had to come to work, right? So you should have been at work. I got to go to work when I got to be at work. And when I'm not at work, I'm sitting here going to work for you guys doing these reviews. So I'm always working. Sasha Banks is always working as well, apparently. She's working on a rap album, working on this comeback. Maybe it was okay for her not to be around. I don't know. Seeing Sasha and Bayley together at this point is kind of just getting old to me, even though Bayley has made this new turn for the heel side of things, which I am enjoying her turn here. I just think that a lot of the verbiage that they are giving to her is, much like everything else on this show, very, very subpar, not up to the quality of what these people can actually do. And if they take the scripts away and just let some of these people go, I think you'd be surprised at just how talented some of them would be. Bayley might be one of them. Because when you're giving her what you want to say, instead of giving her a feeling of what she needs to get across, it's going to come off as scripted and read. And you're going to see them looking at the floor at the cards. And it's going to come off disingenuous, and it's not going to be natural or organic. Which is what we get with the WWE. Bayley defeats Dana Brooke. Great. Who cares? Moving along, they recapped the Bray Wyatt Miz angle. They showed another Sheamus preview, a little promo of him standing in the dark, doing the same sort of promo he's been doing since we've seen him come back in promo form in the last couple of weeks, and it's very underwhelming. I feel like Sheamus should have just came out and beat the shit out of somebody, reintroduced himself with a bang. All of these vignettes and all of him talking really soft and trying to get our attention and talking about saving SmackDown should already be done and over with. And if you ask me, he should be with Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro and Sami Zayn and group them all together. That's what you need. Sheamus by himself, I don't know that we need that right now. After this, we got a taped segment from earlier today as Renee Young sat down with The Miz. And The Miz is sitting in his house. He's going to try to explain to us why he cares about Daniel Bryan all of a sudden. He said Daniel Bryan and he have had a long history. They brought back up the incident on Talking Smack, which Renee Young was right there for. And she wants to know, why did he have a change of heart? And he's just talking about how he respects Daniel Bryan now. And it's all about respect. He still doesn't like Daniel Bryan, but he respects him now. So your respect for Daniel Bryan is going to bring you to the point where you're going to face an absolute psychopath. You're going to do all the things that you've done to Bray Wyatt in the weeks leading up to this ridiculous thing that we are watching. And I know a lot of people are going to be sitting there going, oh, this was excellent storytelling. This was probably some of the best stuff that they've ever done. You're going to hear all kinds of shit like that, but I'm telling you that this, to me, didn't feel very Firefly Funhouse-like. It felt overproduced. It felt very Hollywood. And while it was a little bit creepy, it just didn't feel like... It didn't feel as real as you wanted it to feel. You wanted to use this segment to humanize The Miz. Make him more relatable. Show him as a dad. This guy's sitting there answering questions with no emotion, like he's scared shitless the whole time. And then Maurice starts screaming. He runs over to the bedroom of the baby with Maurice, because in the baby monitor, they see little Monroe playing with Ramblin' Rabbit. Now, Maurice, I want you guys to understand, for this segment's purposes, they had Maurice, the mother of this child, see on a baby monitor a weird stuffed animal that doesn't belong in the baby's crib, and instead of going right to the baby's room to see what the hell is going on, she starts calling for Mike. And she runs, do you know how big the Miz's house probably is? She runs the whole way to Mike at the interview to get him and show him what she's seeing on the screen instead of getting her ass to the baby. So that's mistake number one. Just logic-wise, if I'm writing this thing, I'm going, well, that's going to make her look like a complete fool, so I don't want to make her do that. But that's, of course, what they did. So let's move on from there. They cut back to what we see on the baby monitor screen, and all of a sudden, little baby Monroe is surrounded by all of the puppets of the Firefly Funhouse. The next time we see her, she looks genuinely scared. I don't know if they waited for her to be cranky to get the shot, or if they maybe legitimately terrified a child with some of the weird shit that she had to see in her crib tonight. You know, to a 1-2-year-old baby, that Abigail witch doll is not a fun thing. The Mercy the Buzzard with the fangs, like, you know, maybe you don't want to go there so much, or find a way to do it where the baby's not actually exposed to it. I don't know. I just feel like this may, as interesting as some of you might think it was, and as cool and creepy as it might have been meant to be, I think it might just be a little bit too much, only because this feud don't mean shit. What is driving Bray Wyatt to the point where he wants to manipulate the babies now? What did The Miz do? The Miz didn't do shit. This is a sidestep to the feud that we all actually want to see. We don't know what the hell's going on with Daniel Bryan still. He's apparently still under the control of The Fiend. Somewhere in the world, I guess we'll find out at some point. And this is a story that I don't really care about. This is just something that doesn't require all of this extra storytelling. Because this is a one-off. The Miz is going to lose on Sunday to Bray Wyatt. And then what are we going to do with The Miz? What does all of this really mean? It was just mind games, just mental manipulation by Bray Wyatt. When all anybody wants to know is what the hell happened to Daniel Bryan, we don't really care about what's going on with The Miz. At least I don't. So I certainly did not enjoy this as much as the rest of you, and maybe you guys might think I'm being a little bit too hard on the WWE because I'm super extra pissed off at them this week, and maybe that is the case, but it's definitely well deserved because they could still have done much better. Trying to just get that feeling that you used to get back in the Attitude Era. Oh, when Austin showed up at Brian Pillman's house with the gun incident, or when Triple H showed up at Randy Orton's house, bashing through windows with his sledgehammer in front of Randy Orton's fake girlfriend at the time. We've seen all of this before. We come back to Bray Wyatt having an episode of the Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt pointed out that snitches get stitches. I don't know what that had to do with anything. He told everybody Daniel Bryan is still with The Fiend. I wish we would see much more of that and a whole lot less of this. He then said he could train himself to feel no pain. And if this is the way they are going to try to get around the fact that he could take 15 curb stomps, he trained himself to be able to feel no pain, then let's go with that and let's tell that story. Tell us how this training went. Where did he go for this training? Did this happen after he was dipped into the lake of reincarnation when he was fighting Matt Hardy and he came out of the lake in this different form? Like, what happened? Get creative. Tell a story. You're a fucking TV show. And then Bray Wyatt ends this thing telling The Miz that the Marine 5 was fire, which it absolutely was not. One of the weakest segments of the Firefly Funhouse so far. Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro defeated Heavy Machinery. Heavy Machinery, like I said, in their own hometown, or at least in Otis's hometown, gets the hometown treatment. And they go and get their shoulders pinned to the mat, looking up at the lights, no matter how entertaining or how behind them the crowd was. It was much more important for the WWE to give this win to Nakamura and Cesaro. This match shouldn't have even been happening at all. If you're not going to establish your new teams as a threat, then why are they even there? Send Heavy Machinery back to NXT so they can continue to be something to watch instead of something to just watch lose on a weekly basis because you guys don't know what to do with them other than have the big guy go out there and wiggle his belly a little bit. A useless tag team matchup that did nothing for nobody. They recap Batista and the NWO being announced as the first two inducted names for the 2020 Hall of Fame. I'm still sticking by what I said originally, which is I don't know why we're talking about this now. Let's let the year come to an end. That's traditionally what we do. Why we have to break fucking traditions for everything and get earlier and earlier and earlier with announcements to things that people that are the only people that care about the Hall of Fame ceremony are the type of wrestling fans that care about that kind of thing. Not many of us do anymore. It used to be a night that I would sit down, I would buy a nice bottle of wine, I'd roll up a couple of fatties, I'd get a nice little snack of some sort, and then I'd sit down and I'd watch the whole entire thing start to finish. And I'd enjoy all of my little entertainment that I have for myself, all of my little drinks and snacks and schmokes. But they don't do that anymore. Now it's a big joke. They have the entire arena full of fans. Last year, Bret Hart's getting attacked by people. Like, come on. It's like a shell of what it used to be, which is a great metaphor for everything else that the WWE gives us. Everything is just a shell of the once great company that it used to be. And now instead of SmackDown, we get sucked down each and every single week. The main event seen King Corbin versus Kofi Kingston, both with their partners in tow. Ziggler for Corbin, Big E for Kofi Kingston. This would break down pretty quickly to a point where all of a sudden there was chaos. Big E grabs the microphone after the brawl breaks out. Says, you guys want to fight? We got to fight for you. And they pulled a Teddy Long special, and now we have a tag team main event. Corbin and Ziggler versus The New Day to close out SmackDown. And if you're not stupid, you knew all night long the big dog was going to be unleashed at some point, and we hadn't seen it up until this point, and you knew it was coming with every minute that passed. Corbin and Ziggler and The New Day would battle and battle, but there would be no real call. The referee just called for the bell, so I would assume that they were disqualifying Corbin and Ziggler for bringing in handcuffs and starting to beat down Kofi Kingston. They beat him down terribly, which actually felt awful to watch. You're watching these two dudes beating down Kofi Kingston, and it just felt wrong to watch this angle. And then you have everything be saved. The moment is saved. Kofi is spared from the dog food, even though they got him strung up like they did to Roman last week. Kofi Kingston is saved from the dog food by the big dog. And here, like I teased at the beginning of the show, is where they kind of fucked everything up. They could have still done this whole entire angle with Kofi and The New Day and whatever. But the one place where they failed was there was a spot where they pulled out a ladder. And Corbin and Ziggler and the Revival had Roman Reigns on the announce table. Dolph Ziggler climbed to the top of the ladder and was going to do something. But instead of doing that and giving the heels the advantage going into the pay-per-view, giving you a reason to give a shit about Roman Reigns getting retribution, What we got was Roman Reigns, against all odds, freeing himself from the clutches of 3 strong-ass men, climbing up the ladder and then choke-slamming Dolph Ziggler off the top of the ladder through the announce table. And we go off the air with the big dog triumphant, unleashed. And you made it even less interesting. At the very least, you could have had Roman go through the table. It would have meant more to the story. As I pointed out, you could have had the heels in a dominant position in both situations. You could have gotten both matches over in this scenario if you would have put the Revival in the position to dominate the New Day after the matchup, while simultaneously Corbin and Ziggler dominated Roman Reigns towards the end of the evening, giving everybody reason to want to tune in and see what the hell happens or see these other teams get their retribution on Sunday. But instead you failed. You failed up and down this show. You failed every single superstar on this roster with the scripts you come up with on a weekly basis. It makes for absolutely terrible television. It makes people feel stupid. It makes my intelligence feel insulted because I'm not an idiot. And you can't have me one week watch Roman Reigns be taken advantage of by 2 men, and then this week have him beating down 15 people with these. And nothing will stand in his way. I don't give a shit about this Sunday. I wish it wasn't even happening. The final pay-per-view of the year is going to be no different than the first pay-per-view of the year and any other pay-per-view in between without the letters NXT or AEW in front of it. Anything that they threw at us in 2019 has just progressively gotten worse and worse and worse. And there's still 2 weeks left in this year. We got to sit through this shit and hope that 2020 brings a brighter and better day. This show was awful, as it usually is. SmackDown continues to battle Raw to see which one could suck worse. And honestly, just by default, and the fact that almost 1 hour, if not more, of this show is dedicated to the King Corbin, Roman Reigns storyline, I'm out. I'm tapped out. I have no interest in anything else going forward. But unfortunately, we're going to have to see that TLC match on Sunday, and I will be here with you to bring the hammer down on this piece of crap company once again, as we always do. Do not forget, if you missed the Raw review for any reason, many of you guys seen it in its original form on its debut night, which is what you guys usually do. It got up to almost 1,500 views before the WWE struck me down. So what did I do? I changed the layout, much like we did here, to a very simple, very easy thing that they can't claim they own. And we put the video back up there. So if you missed it and you want to go see the WWE Raw review that the WWE themselves don't want you to see, it is live on this channel right now, and you can go check that out. Don't forget, we put up the AEW Dynamite review earlier this afternoon, doing another double upload on this Friday for you, and that's all because of the WWE. You could blame them for that as well, because I had to spend the entirety of my Thursday battling them and trying to find out what the hell happened with that Raw review where they're claiming I have copyright infringed on them, and there is not even the slightest bit of that. Just as you have seen firsthand tonight, there was not even a microcosm of a second of any WWE programming on here. So if this gets taken down, and if this gets copyright striked, then we know that the bots are not working correctly, or they're watching me and they hate what I have to say and they can't take it. They can't take it. Well, you know what? Instead of worrying about my little show that's gaining more and more traction by the day and hurting my 2,000 fans, why don't you worry about satisfying your millions of fans around the world? Focus on your show. Why don't you take some of my ideas and implement them and make your show better instead of trying to shut me up? Because you will never, ever do so. Make sure you check out everything else on this channel. And by the way, before we sign off, I just need to say this, and I will say this on every review from this moment on towards the end of it. if for any reason these shows do get taken down, don't forget we are still there on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, and Spotify. You won't get to see my beautiful, handsome face and all my funny gestures and whatnot, but you will still be able to hear the voice of the voiceless for 2019, 2020, and beyond, and that is going to be your captain, and that captain is me. Who the hell am I? My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. And you could feel free to support this channel any way you want. You could smash that thumbs up if you enjoyed anything we had to say here today. You could share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they think SmackDown is a suckdown every single Friday. Or, after you leave your comment in the comments section, you can go and get yourself a t-shirt. The Sledgehammer TV logo t-shirt is available now, and so is the dreaded Poop Hammer t-shirt. And there is no segment specifically that gets the Poop Hammer over anything else. This entire episode of SmackDown was a Poop Hammer. You can get your shirts right now at bonfire.com/store/sledgehammer-tv. Right now, they will be available through the holiday season until the year 2020 comes our way, when the Poop Hammer t-shirt, or this particular Poop Hammer t-shirt, goes away for good. Get your hands on it now, and don't forget that this show was, from start to finish, one giant Poop Hammer. If you had to pick one specific Poop Hammer moment for the night, let me know what that moment will be down in the comments section, because I had a hard time pinpointing out any one, because the whole entire show was worth being bashed with it. That, my friends, is going to do it, and we are out of here. And we will see you Sunday night for the TLC review and reaction show right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, which is only on Sledgehammer TV, which is still and will always be on YouTube.com, despite anybody else's best efforts to take me down. We will always be here for each and every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for being here and for your continued love and support of the channel. That's going to do it. We're out of here. We'll see you next time, right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.